I'm Kitty.
And I'm Max.
And this is Dango Duo.
And it's time for the most important video of our career.
At least of this season.
We have seen the first episode of every single anime. We have seen 30 different anime.
Every anime available on a legal streaming platforming in America.
And now that we have the full context of all these shows, we're going to rank them from best to worst in that order.
So let's just fucking get started, because it's going to be a long video. Alright, Max, let's kick it off. What's the best anime of winter 2020?
This is a very easy choice for us as Dango Duo. Toilet-bound Hanako-kun is not only a feast for the eyes, it's not only delightfully written, but it does something that nothing else in this whole season does. Just its visual style alone makes it stand at the very top. Nothing else on this list comes anywhere close. There is oceans of difference between the best slots, and from there to every other category out of all of them, Toilet-bound Hanako-kun is the best. Now, Kitty, what is the second best anime we have seen this season?
This one's not hard either. It's Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which is a love letter to anime and animation in general. It's something that's stylish, beautiful, touching, and it's something you really can't get in another medium, only in anime. It is 100% worth checking out. And now, what's the third best anime this season?
I want to make it clear that getting a bronze medal in the Olympics is still amazing. Madoka Magia's side story is amazing. It is beautiful, and it is every single bit all the things we love about Madoka. The reason why it's coming in third as opposed to higher up in the list is that you know what you're getting out of side story. It's Madoka, you know what you're getting out of it, while Eizouken and Hanako-kun do things that you can't find anywhere else in anime. Hence why the third spot is still amazing anime though.
Now, stepping down one tier into the good, where things are still on the more positive scale than on the negative scale, we have...
Science fell in love, so I tried to prove it. This show surprised us in that it is funny, it is quirky, it is genuine, it shows what appears to be a romance between two people who want to actually figure out if they're in love. I know the setup sounds like it would be cringy and unfun, but Science Fell in Love really surprised us.
Right behind Science Fell in Love, it's Id Invaded. This anime has a lot of positives going for it. It's got a good mystery, it doesn't fall into a lot of the tropes of what a lot of procedural true crime anime shows kind of do, and it's very imaginative. If you're interested in a good mystery, this is probably the best anime for you this season. So Max, what comes next?
The next one is number 24, and I know what you're thinking, a sports anime on the good category? Number 24 surprised us in that it is a sports anime about rugby, but in spite of this horrible sell, it has a lot of heart. The main character has dealt with a physical injury that has basically removed him from the ability to practice rugby, and the anime doesn't shy away from showing you, his recovery and how that has affected his life. And for its handling of this very sensitive topic, for that alone, I think that number 24 deserves to be in the good category. Now, Kitty, what's next on the list?
It's Robo Dad and Small Girl, aka Somali and the Forest Spirit. I pretty much advocated for this one to be on the good. It's got a lot of heart. It could easily turn a little creepy, as some of these kind of anime tend to do, but so far, so refreshing. Very cute, very wholesome, and just everything I love in anime. And it's at this point when the good begins to lean into the okay. We've got our bottom of the good here, more kind of leaning towards okay.
Beginning with Asteroid in Love. If you like cute girls doing everyday things, Asteroid in Love is for you. And although I am always hesitant of the gay baiting that happens in source material made by men for men, if you can overlook that and enjoy this as a kinda LGBT-friendly story, I think there's something in here for you, for there is two girls who clearly like each other.
Just barely slipping up into the good category, we have 22/7. Spoilers, we watched the next episode of this, and it's very much the same as the first episode. The first episode, it has some problems. It is an idol anime, and ultimately the girls will eventually become idols, but it's gonna take a while. And it's that point that kind of bumps it almost into the okay. We are very interested in seeing where the story goes, but so far it's not had a good showing.
Following up with the anime that is just okay, at the precipice between good and okay, we have Inspector. If there is the most okayest show in this season, it is Inspector. It stumbles nearly at every turn, and although it has what appears to be a really cool concept, it fails to really capitalize on it. The only disabled protagonist in anime that we've seen in a long time, and the story is not even really about her. That being said, if you can stomach through the ineffective writing and the lack of focus, there is a kind of charming show in here.
Coming right on the heels of Inspector, we have The Case Files of Jeweler Richard, a fairly harmless little show about gems and the guys who inspect them. There is some potential gay baiting between our two main protagonists, but they also do seem to have a genuine connection. It's a little boring for us, not gonna lie, but if you're into these kind of slower shows about small case files, you could do much worse than Jeweler Richard.
One of the things about watching so much anime is that stuff that you watched at the beginning gets a new context once you have the whole view, and that's why, against all odds, Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense, come sit right at the middle of the okay, climbing up from the dredges of the bad. I actually have begun looking fondly on our time with Bofuri. It is a show about virtual reality, which is tired. It's kind of ridiculous brand of humor regarding a character who just keeps snowballing defensive bonuses to the point where by the end of episode 1 she's physically indestructible. It's a comedy of its own, and when you compare it to the rest of the stuff in the list, it's honestly pretty harmless. If you like video games and video gamey humor, Bofuri might be the thing for you.
Next down the catwalk is Smile Down the Runway. It's a fairly harmless show about making fashion and being model. If that's the kind of thing you're into, it's alright. It's not gonna blow your mind in any particular way, but it's definitely harmless.
Coming up next on the OK list is the second VR MMO show of the season, Infinite Dendrogram. It is less funny than Bofuri, but it is nowhere near as offensive or gross as what's coming up in the rest of this list.
Next we have the definition of okay anime, Hatena Illusion. It's so tropey, and so middle of the road, and doesn't do anything new, that it sits so middle of the road that it's kind of...
okay.
It's just okay.
And now, we're beginning to dip towards the stuff that is more bad than okay, and we're beginning with Uchitama! Have you seen my Tama? This show is a corporate mess. A group of men around a table came up with this idea to make more money by selling you anime versions of the marketable mascots of the Tama franchise. It's kind of baffling how everything kind of goes wrong with this anime. It really does feel like Cats the Musical, the movie, the anime.
You want more anime that doesn't do enough with its concept? Let me tell you, A3. For a show that's about acting, there's very little acting, very little theater in this, and it's really just pretty boys and which one you like the most.
The further we go down from okay to bad, the more incompetent the show becomes, and there's no harbinger of that incompetentness than Show by Rock Mashu Mairesh. There is no reason why you should be watching this anime. There's none.
Speaking of Venn diagram where you should not be watching anime, it's Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga. Fun fact, this is our second take of this tier maker, and the first time we forgot about this show, because it's so... The best part about the show is the real dogs, and you can just look up pictures of real dogs.
And coming last in the OK category, we have ARP Backstage Pass. It's like someone tried to make a show out of like 3 music videos, and let me tell you, much as with Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga, you can just look up pictures of dogs, you can just watch the music videos for ARP Backstage Pass, and you would probably come out of it having a better time than we did.
It's time to start the bad category, and why not start with an incompetent show, Zenonzard, the animation. What the hell happened in that first episode? I don't know, but it's not at all what we were promised with the whole card games thing, so... What? Also, it's only on YouTube and it's 14 minutes. What?
while the anime in the best and good category can leave you feeling good about having seen a show, the things in the bad category leaves you feeling worse than you were before, and nothing envelops that better than a destructive god sits next to me. This show is mean-spirited, it's not funny, it's really bad when the only joke that almost lands has heavy sexual assault implications.
Gross.
Gross.
Next up on our list, it's Sorceress Stabber Orphan. The source material is bad, so the new anime is bad. What can I say?
And now, we begin to dip into anime that actually is just offensive. As with Pet, a show about psychic powers that immediately likens having mental illness with magic powers, and if you could just harness your magical powers, you would not have mental illness. Also, this first episode, it's a show about people with mind powers, and the first episode follows someone who has no mind powers. And then he gets mind wiped, so what's even the point?
So exciting. Next, a 47-minute premiere did not help Darwin's Game. It is pretty incompetent, and then that last tiny scene leaves you feeling much worse about the overall experience than otherwise it would have been. Real gross. Stop it, anime.
And now we arrive at the baddest of the bad, but not bad enough to be in the worst category. Nekopara is a mess. It manages to be grosser than the source material. This show goes out of its way to tell you, to shout at the screen and tell you, these girls are in indentured servitude. They're also underage, so there's a whole bunch of fucked up shitness in this. Skip. You're not that horny.
Alright, we're finally here. Let's start with the least bad of the worst, which is still really bad. It's Seton Academy, Join the Pack. A show in which the main protagonist is openly xenophobic and openly sexually harasses a girl. Let's also not forget the fact that there is the implication of sexual assault also later. That's great. Thanks.
Coming up next in the worst category is a bit of a controversial pick. Our most watched video of this season.
And our most disliked.
Interspecies Reviewers. It's not the worst of this season, but I want you to understand that this bottom here is the bottommost level of hell. These are all really bad, and Interspecies Reviewers it's gross. And it's so gross, as a matter of fact, that it was taken off the streaming service that it was on.
And even not aired in some places in Japan, so what does that say about this anime?
What we can say about it is that it's not funny, and it's just complete absolute horniness. And probably the thing that makes us the angriest on a personal level is the fact that this show has an intersex character who's played for laughs and also sexualized. So, that's great.
Speaking of not funny and sexual overtones, it's Plunderer! Yay! An anime that just wanted an excuse to lift up a girl's skirt constantly and look at another girl's boobs. Also, our main character is a disgusting pervert who sexually harasses our main female lead. Yuck! Ew! What the fuck, anime?
And last, and certainly least, if my favorite pop idol made it to Budokan, I would die.
I would die if I had to watch another episode of this piece of junk.
This may come as a surprise. Someone out there may be like, whoa, this is worse than Plunderer, than Interspecies Reviewers, than Seton Academy Join the Pack, and the answer is yes. Budokan is the sneaky kind of gross, and no anime left us feeling worse than Budokan. There is a lot we want to say about Budokan, but I want to begin first by setting up the ground rules, basically. If my favorite pop idol made it to Budokan, I would die is a seinen manga. Seinen is a genre of Japanese fiction that is aimed at young men. A man wrote this show, and the target audience is men. Those right there are the red flags for gay baiting. I've seen enough anime, and I've been in this medium for long enough to realize that's gay baiting right there. Those girls are not gonna end up together. And even that right there is good enough to knock you down a few levels, but Budokan is extra gross because This is a show about the obsessive idol fan culture. And the show does everything in its power to not address how gross that culture is.
This show tries to gloss over the fact that idol culture is inherently toxic and brings about a lot of feelings of men owning women, basically, because they're their best girl.
And also the notion that buying merch or purchasing the services that the girls are selling somehow entitles you to their affection.
And because our main character is a woman who is interested in another woman who is an idol, us LGBT people have to go, is this gay or is it not? We have to scrape through this pile of shit to try to see if this is representation or not. And I hate that. I also hate that this anime is basically trying to please me, a female idol fan. It's trying to normalize this toxic view of idols, and it's not okay. Just because a woman does it, it's not okay.
It's equally as gross as it is as when a man does it. And that entire systematic thought of like, well, you know, you're gonna overwork yourself to death. You're basically gonna be wearing the same dirty clothes all the time. You're gonna buy all the merch and be the person who's sitting in there in line for fucking 20 hours to be the first person in line. These are all toxic parts of the gross idol culture, and the show does not address them. In fact, it glorifies them. Overall, Budokan is the worst anime this season. Not because it objectifies women, or it has sexual assault be a thing that happens for 24 minutes in the case of Plunderer. No. Budokan is here because it is sneaky about how gross it is, and most people might not notice it. Especially LGBT people who are starved for LGBT content in anime. If Budokan was a person, it would be the kind of person who claims to be open-minded and progressive, but when you actually look at the policies that they vote for and the people they elect, you can see they're all regressive policies.
And on that downer of a note, we have ranked all 30 anime we've seen for winter! Yay!
Honestly, again, like, if you rewind through this, the anime that's on the top of this list is freaking amazing!
It's mind-blowing what good anime we got out of winter, a normally not great season.
No, yeah, like, winter and...
Summer.
Winter and summer are usually the trashiest piles. And Hanako-kun, Eisoken, and Side Story are amazing! You should stop right now! Leave a like and subscribe. And then go watch Hanako-kun, because it is the best anime of this season. It is a feast for the eyes, and you should watch it.
You should. And you should definitely avoid, actually, just everything on the worst list,
everything
but especially
on the worst list.
Budokan.
And the bad list, too.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, we had to go out of our way to watch Senonzard, so don't go through it.
We had to work so hard to watch Senonzard.
We waited so long.
But we have seen all the anime that is legally available.
In the US.
In the United States. So...
Well, was legally available. Hey!
Inauspicious reviewers, take that.
Take that, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
So, hey there, guys. In case you're wondering, we'll be starting episode 2s tomorrow.
Woo!
Should we spoil which ones we're doing?
Oh, I already spoiled one of them. It was 22/7.
Yeah, we're actually catching up with, like, this rift right here between okay and good. We're actually gonna start here to see if those shows improve. And Kitty already spoiled you a little bit, but it's fine.
It's fine. Join along for the ride and see how it messed up.
We are Dango Duo. We do anime content every single day. And if you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing and leaving a comment. How would you have ranked this tier list? Do you want to make your own?
You can do so in the link in the description. Because we had to go out of this way to make our tier list, so might as well use it for yourselves too.
And come back tomorrow for another anime video.
Yay! We're starting episode 2.
Yay!
Will they improve upon the first episode?
We finally got to bury Budokan. It's dead.
It's dead. Well, we can maybe talk about it again in our week recap, but fuck Budokan.